We're going to call this Who Was Rex Applegate? Who was Doc Jones? Who was Larry Meyer? And what do they have to do with General Smedley Butler and the Bartow family? And our recent past and real far past of people that have lived in this town or the area. We're going to show you a little something here, a book. Now, Rex Applegate lived out in Scottsburg, and so did Doc Jones. And I had the privilege to meet both of these people, and I'm going to show you a book that came down through a few people. Kind of my own little Gravity Falls story here, because Larry Meyer was my best friend for 31 years. Now, Rex Applegate had a friend named John Ross that wrote this book, Unintended Consequences. You can see his little insignia there. And this was Rex Applegate's book, which was given to him by the author, John Ross. I don't know if this is showing up at all, but anyhow, this was from the author about war in South America and kind of what General Smedley Butler came home and decided that, you know what, being a soldier wasn't about going down and fighting and killing people over oil or for corporations. It was supposed to be about defending the American public. So a lot of these old World War I soldiers and people that had to go to South America and fight for these corporations like United Grocers came home pretty butthurt. But anyhow, this book went from John Ross, the writer, to Colonel Rex Applegate, which was a hero. I was lucky enough to get into his inner circle through people like Doc Jones, lived out on Jonquil Lane. But I want to stop this here a second, and I want to read you the dedication that John Ross wrote in this. It says, this book is dedicated to the three women in my life. My mother, Luciana Ross, who taught me by her example that you have to spend on your talent and do what you believe is right. My wife, Carolyn Ross, who urged me to start this project and believed this book needed to be written. And my daughter, Lucy, who I hope will have more individual freedoms when she becomes an adult than her parents did. John Ross, given to Colonel Rex Applegate, who in turn gave that book to Doc Jones, the Knights of Malta, the hero that ran Dave Anderson and Jay Cable, this crazy judge out of town years ago. Everybody in Reedsport owes Doc Jones a big hero's favor for rooting out a couple of really not nice guys in this town. Anyhow, if you wonder why I do these things and everybody gets so upset, anyhow, let's just play one of the local or most recent police high-impact blogs guy again. The gremlins are going to work not to get this message out, aren't they?
Duncan Socrates Lamp.
Socrates.
Was murdered on the 13th, Friday the 13th, March the 13th, at 4:30 in the morning, as he's asleep with his pregnant girlfriend in bed. Apparently, a red flag law was issued against him, and I'm going to stop calling him.
Anything to keep this message from getting out, I'm sure.
Calling them red flag laws because the red flag terrorism laws. Basically, a red flag law is legalized swatting. Duncan Lamp and his girlfriend and everybody in the house, his whole family in the house, was swatted. And they were all subject to death and destruction by the Montgomery County, Maryland SWAT team. That's what happened. Let's just be honest. Human beings invaded another peaceful human being. Nobody in the house, from what I've read, and I've read a lot of articles on it, seen a lot of videos on it, nobody in the house had a criminal record. The worst Duncan Lamp had was a traffic ticket. I think it was a speeding ticket or something like that. No past criminal record. And yet, they treated him like a hardened criminal. They fired bullets, didn't ask questions, didn't reveal themselves as police officers. They fired bullets into his house from the outside and detonated 2 flashbang grenades, from what I've read, allegedly. According to a couple of Superior Court cases, I think one was the North Carolina Superior Court, they declared flashbangs weapons of mass death and destruction. The concussion effect is 4 times greater than that of a 12-gauge shotgun and can break windows and put holes in walls. That's how bad, that's how devastating a flashbang grenade can be. You can literally kill somebody by setting one of those off. I don't know if you guys remember the story of flashbang disfigured this little kid, burned his body, deafened him. Here's what I want to do. Here's what I want to do with this video. Just break it down to the human element. Let me ask you, order-following law enforcement agents of the Montgomery County SWAT team. What if this was your kid, your 21-year-old kid? What if this was your daughter who was pregnant, sleeping in her own bed at 4:30 in the morning? What if this was your wife? What if this was somebody that you loved? How the hell can you follow orders? Why is nobody on the SWAT team asking, okay, why are we here? What did this guy do? You know what the order was issued for? Firearms offenses. Didn't hurt anybody. Didn't threaten to hurt anybody. Didn't say even stole somebody's stuff. Duncan Lamp was accused of firearms offenses, and then he got red flagged. It's unconscionable. It's infuriating. When you really think about this, guys, you and I are Duncan Lamp. You and I are Gary Willis, another Maryland man who was summarily executed by law enforcement as they were serving a red flag extreme risk protection order. It's not extreme risk protection. It's extreme risk destruction. Extreme risk violation of human rights. Human lives. What if it was you in bed at 2, 3, 4 o'clock in the morning? And there's not a knock on your door. There's a crack in the window and people are breaking down your door. And armed thugs, armed and armored thugs, militarized thugs are coming into your house to do you harm. What is your first reaction? Oh my God, I got to defend my family. I got to defend my life, my own life. Let me just ask you, order followers, what if that was you in your bed or somebody that you loved? Isn't your first reaction, wouldn't it be a normal response, a normal human response to an outside threat coming in to threaten the lives of you and your family? Of course it would be. And nobody would fault you for that. Even if it was a law enforcer, they don't announce who they are. They just crack the windows, shoot, flashbang, kill, destroy, rush in, terrorize. It's terrorism. It is terrorism. Red flag terrorism laws is what they are. And anybody who's calling for these red flag confiscation orders, you might as well know is what you're calling for is government gun violence. All you livers, libtards, whatever you want to call yourself, SJWs, whatever. You're calling for government-sanctioned, libtard-endorsed government gun violence on peaceful people who haven't frickin' done anything wrong. Guilty until proven innocent. They didn't do that to Jeffrey Epstein. Rush in on him, shoot in his windows, flashbang, fill him full of holes. There are reports that the Montgomery County SWAT team in all of Maryland from 2010 to 2014 conducted over 8,000 SWAT raids. 9 people were killed, hundreds injured, 14 dogs died, were summarily slaughtered. And they had, in between that time, they were required to report all their swatting efforts with body cams and all that. After it came out that they had 8,000 swatting raids, hundreds of people were seriously injured, and 9 people were killed, and 14 dogs died, they decided to not do any more SWAT reporting so that they could cover up their shenanigans. It's all a bunch of BS, guys. You are Duncan Lamp. I am Duncan Lamp. You're going to go to sleep tonight, and you want to be safe in your person's houses, papers, and effects, like the Fourth Amendment says. They did nothing but trample and violate the Second Amendment rights, firearms offenses. What the hell is that? All you had to do is, you order followers, all you had to do is go firearms offenses. He doesn't even have a criminal history. All that's on his record is a speeding ticket. Firearms offenses, we have the Second Amendment. He has the right to have any arm he wants to. Even automatic, I don't care what the law says. You could have a freaking tank in your front yard or an RPG, as long as you're not hurting somebody with it, threatening to hurt somebody with it, using it to extort somebody like the government does. You have do we not have a Second Amendment? And here's the irony, guys. The irony is the last tweet that Duncan Lamp left on Twitter was, "The Constitution is dead." Sometime in December 2019. The last month of 2019. That's the last Twitter post from Duncan Lamp. The Constitution is dead. I only disagree with one thing on that. The Constitution was stillborn. It never did anybody any good. It's just a piece of paper. Just a piece of paper standing between you and a tyrannical government. A piece of paper standing between you and a psychopath who wants to do you harm at 4:30 in the morning. That's all it is. Like Lysander Spooner said, whether the Constitution be one thing or another, this much is certain. It's either authorized such a government as we have, a tyrannical government, or it's been powerless to resist it. In either case, it's unfit to exist. Duncan Lamp had a Second Amendment right. Duncan Lamp had a Fourth Amendment right, the right to be secure in his persons, houses, papers, and effects against unreasonable
Guy Fawkes,
searches,
Lysander
and
Spooner.
that shall not be violated. But guess what? Even though he had that Fourth Amendment right, it was violated by the Montgomery County SWAT team in Maryland. So what good did the Constitution? The Constitution must be dead. It must have been long. It's stillborn. It's not doing us any good. All these oath violators and oath breakers, and nothing will happen to them. They sealed the cop's name. You can't get to it. They've sealed body camera footage for the next 30 days. You can't even find out why the warrant was issued. It's been sealed for 30 days. That gives the cops time to tailor their lies as evidence comes in. Maybe clip a little here on the body cam footage. It really pisses me off, and it really should piss all of us off, because that could happen to us tonight. That could happen to us at 4:30 this morning. To you, to your family. You could no longer be here in the early morning hours if somebody decides to raid you for firearms offenses, whatever that means. Leave your thoughts about this for the world and the Google Thought Police in the comments section below. I'm telling you guys, we need to get together. We've been so thoroughly distracted, deceived, and divided and conquered. We're a conquered people. We're not the land of the free, home of the brave. It's land of the fee and home of the slave. If you don't bow down and kiss the boots of the tyrants, they'll come knock your door in, break your windows, and take your life in the middle of the night. I'll see you in the next heavily censored shadow ban video.
What you gonna do?